I know you shouldn't go by appearances, but let me put the picture up actually of the couple. So these are the couple that's up in the right hand corner. This is the couple that sacrificed themselves to save their children. I think that it seems apparent that that's what's happened. That they were somehow this guy attacked them, or for some reason it's not clear yet why he did it. Was he trying to rob them? Was his target the children? Was he just wanting to kill someone just for the sake of it? Had he dreamt about killing someone? And then he would just happen to be there on the trail and he took the opportunity of, I mean, it's just odd, isn't it, to attack 4 people? Because, it takes a lot of controlling for one person. I don't think a gun was involved either. I think it was, I think he stabbed them, not shot them. Not to say that he maybe didn't have a gun, of course. Maybe he did have a gun. Maybe he didn't want to make noise. But yeah, it's very mysterious as to how this happened. Maybe they got into an altercation. Could have been an altercation over anything, couldn't it? I was saying like the guy Clinton. I've seen pictures of him on his Facebook wearing a Donald Trump T-shirt. That people have been murdered for less, making a political statement. If you make too much of a political statement with what you wear, there'll always be somebody who'll take umbrage with that. Either a supporter of Donald Trump, somebody doesn't like that, or if you're a supporter of, I don't know, Joe Biden or whatever, or a supporter of Gaza or a supporter of Israel, murders have been committed for less. So it's very unclear how this, why this even happened in the first place. But the children are safe. The 2 little girls, they're both under the age of 10. They're safe there with family, but they have been orphaned. They have lost their parents. So now a lot of things are coming out about this guy, and mainly these photos, isn't it? I mean, look, so look at him. Look at him, his hair, he looks so angry. He's just got that fierce look. When you see that picture, you can see more. Look at the eyes, are very accurately depicted, aren't they? So he hasn't got his eyes like that in that picture. But you know how angry the eyes look. I do think that picture depicts them. But he had a baseball cap on. How he fitted that mop, just how he fitted that hair in there, I don't know. But anyway, he's not got a good look, as he's like so angry, so entitled, isn't he? So he just strikes me as a total twonk, doesn't he? Awful. He's got that, talk about the eyes being the window to the soul. My God. Right, so I've got a few videos to show you about this guy, because of course a lot of details are coming out about him now. So first of all, let's see his arrest. I think I've got the video. Yeah, this is the video of him being arrested at the hair salon. So I don't know who phoned the police, whether the police had been following him, but he was arrested at a hair salon. So he lived nearby. He'd only just moved to the area. He hadn't been in the area very long, which was the same as the actual couple who were murdered. The guy was due to start a new job the following day. They hadn't been in the area very long either. So, you've got to wonder, why was he in that area? Why was he in the national park that day dressed really weirdly? So he had fingerless gloves on, he had the baseball cap on, he had this rucksack. He had his number plates on his car were covered up. So he's obviously trying to hide his identity in one way, but he carried on driving the same car. To me, this guy is one of those thickos who thinks he's clever. He's like gone out there, committed a double murder, and then gone in a hair salon nearby in the same car that he was using to commit the double murder. You know, he's a thicko. He's a thicko, but he obviously thought he was cleverer than the police. God. Okay, let's have a look at him being arrested. The state of him. Look, I mean, he looks younger, doesn't he, on this video? And why would you let your hair get like that in the first place? When was the last time you had a haircut? You know, I don't know. I've got a son who's a similar age to him. He has his haircut about every 2 weeks, it feels like, you know, because why has he never had it? Why has he not had a haircut for so long? How's it even got like that? So has he got some drug issues? Is he... But he's a teacher. Just the thought, he's been dealing with young people. I honestly do think this couple, they are, you know, not only heroes for saving their own children, but it just makes you wonder, this guy is a teacher. How many other children have they saved by, you know, protected by him? They've sacrificed their lives, obviously they're deceased, which is so terribly sad, but now he's been arrested. At least other children, other people, and children especially, are safe from this weirdo. Oh yeah, just have a little bit off there. I just feel he's got to be in a state of altered reality to ever think that he could just walk into a hairdresser's just up the road from where it happened and not be, you know, that the police wouldn't be onto him. He's got to be in some sort of state of altered reality for whatever, drink, alcohol, drugs, whatever. He is not compos mentis. Sorry, you would presume as well, if he's qualified as a teacher, surely he's got a certain level of intelligence. But it seems to me he's a total thicko, just dumb as anything, to just think he could get away with that. So that was his arrest video. Let's just watch it actually one more time, and then I'm going to move on to another video about it. It's actually quite scary, isn't it, to think this poor girl, you know, anyone walks into, if you're a hairdresser or you work in any of those things, you don't know who's walking into your salon, you know, what history they've got. I feel like that sometimes teaching Spanish. I'm very suspicious if somebody wants to come along as a single male for classes. It's not happened very often where I felt I go on my gut feeling. I've had some very strange reactions about people. Sometimes I've even, you know, asked my son to be around, so because I felt really strongly that somebody was a bit odd. Not often. I mean, in the sort of over 25 years I've been teaching Spanish, it's probably only happened a handful of times. But so you just don't know, especially here. I mean, here I am in Spain. People get the Gatwick diploma, they get on a plane in Gatwick, and they arrive here, they've reinvented themselves as a person, you know, and I have had some strange experiences. And the same for hairdressers and that. You just don't know who's going to walk in through your door, do you? A murderer, a double murderer walked into this salon, and this girl had to touch him. I bet she had a big shower. I bet when she got home, she had the biggest shower you can imagine, just trying. She'd actually touched his hair. Ugh. Disgusting, man. You know, so, oh. Anyway, that was him. Let me stop that video now. So what else have I got to show? I've got a few videos. So this is the hairstylist now, talking about the arrest that we're going to look at now. The poor woman. Saying, oh my God.
Can be among us.
Yet they walk amongst us. They certainly do.
And was living new to the area. She's told us neighbors saw a police presence at his home for several hours last night.
And we can tell you that when she visited the neighborhood, that there was a couple of folks that she was trying to interview. They would not go on camera. That he did live at the address there. Confirmed a huge police presence from 6 o'clock until 11 o'clock last night. And so what we're seeing here is the news video from the salon where the arrest was made last night. Here's what the stylist had to say after what happened last night.
I just want to start off first by saying my condolences to the Brink family. My thoughts and prayers are with you all. I couldn't sleep last night thinking about them. And they'll always be in my heart to imagine those little girls. When I saw him, he looked pretty normal. Something did feel off about him. I noticed I was in the break room heating up my food for lunch, and I noticed a black car pulled up. The doors open, so I would see who would pull up. I came back up here, and I noticed the guy just standing over here. As soon as I saw him, something fell off about him. He looked pretty scary. He didn't look like he was okay. He was very timid. He was always with his head down, long hair covering his face. But I didn't want to speak up yesterday after seeing the photos because anything can change from when those pictures were taken, and he looked to be a lot slimmer. But as soon as I saw the pictures, I'm like, that's him. He just looked slimmer. Like I said, he was on the run. He probably didn't eat or, took care of himself. He looked pretty confused. I don't know how to describe it. I saw him. His eyes just looked sunken. Pretty kind of like soulless is what I could describe. He didn't.
Yeah, their hair is beautiful, isn't it? They, as you say, Missy, they are a good advert for their salon. That's a fact. I bet he's bound to have been on some substances or whatever. If he's like out of it like that, nobody in their right mind goes off into a park and murders two people. There's something strange about this guy. That he's either had a mental break, but I don't believe that either. I mean, he's compass mentis enough to go and get his hair cut and to avoid the police for those few days that he did. Though the police did very well in this case, I think. They caught him as soon as they could. But very nice hair these girls have got.
Want anything cut from the top of his head. He wanted to hide his face. He just wanted a fade on the sides. He didn't really know what he wanted, so I kind of explained to him what kind of haircut would go well with him, with what he had. Yeah, he just didn't want to touch anything from the top. Well, I was about 5 minutes into the haircut when a man pulled up and asking about whose car that was outside, and that's when he would tell him, I believe this is your car. And he didn't really, he just stood quiet. I guess he felt kind of scared.
Can you point it?
As soon as I saw the stickers of, you know, the evidence and stuff, I knew something was wrong, and I asked if it was real, if it could be related to the Devil's Den incident, and they said it could have been. Yeah, it's been overwhelming. I've never been in a situation like this, so I just couldn't stop thinking about the little girls that saw his face. He's pretty scary, dark sunken eyes, but it feels like it's too much. I could only imagine the family, the Brink family, what they're going through. I saw the black car and I saw him.
Well, she's lovely, isn't she? You know, she's a lovely person. She's got empathy for the children, for the family. She's got her own trauma to deal with now, knowing that she had to touch him, for God's sake. God, as I say, you'd be bleaching yourself in the shower, wouldn't you? The thought that you touched him. I hope she's okay, just like the family hopes she's okay.
I'm like, okay, a couple things are checking out, but the way that he looked, it's what gave me the chills.
Yeah.
Reading his name. Yes, also with not wanting to write his name to sign in. I will say, just anyone take caution. You know, these people can be among us.
Yeah.
I would never realize that you could have someone in your chair that has done these horrible things, and just, you know, really be on the lookout.
Yeah, they walk amongst us. So I just want to say as well to those of you that are members and watched last night about the all white communities that are being set up. Well, he would have been acceptable in that all white community. He's a teacher. He's European, all American. I mean, look at that hair. So she said he didn't want anything taken off the hair. It looks like snakes, doesn't it? It's weird. So she said he just wanted a fade at the sides, and then he wanted that leaving like that. But there you go. Yeah, he could have gone to Arkansas, couldn't he? He could have gone to the Ozarks and joined in that community that we talked about in Members Live last night. Whites only people who supported American culture, you know, killing people and eating burgers. He could have gone there, couldn't he? He could have gone there, and he would have been accepted. Good God.
And keep an open mind, and, you know, just try and be safe.
My goodness. All right. This is actually a surveillance video of McGann going into the salon.
Yeah, to get his hair cut, which it's interesting that he went to get his hair cut during this time. We do know that he was about to start as a teacher at Springdale Schools, so maybe he was getting a haircut before.
Yeah, fancy going to get your hair cut when you're on the run from the police. So apparently he was due to start a new job, as of course one of the victims, the father, he was due to start a new job as well. Oh yeah, I'm on the run from the police. Oh, I'll just go and get my hair cut, I think, in the same car. I swear to God, it's going to turn out he was on some sort of substance abuse, because if you are thick enough to think that hiding your number plate, the police are not going to find your car because you hid your number plate that day, and there he is driving the same car, going to get a haircut. You know, he's been seen on the webcams and things, the park cams. There was that very clear picture of him from the back. Did he really think that there wouldn't have been a clear picture of him from the front as well, and that people wouldn't come forward and say, oh yeah, we know who that is? I mean, I think that takes a level of dissociation that you only get if you either drinking too much, taking too much substances. You're not seeing things as they really are. He's in his own little world. He's not seeing that the police are going to catch him. And then he thinks he's going to start work at a school. Nobody's going to know.
for orientation, which I think was today for teachers. Or, like she said, trying to cover his face, maybe a disguise. But this is, video of him inside the salon.
What we don't have just yet, and we're working to get right now, is the arrest. Now, you heard the stylist say that he was there 5, maybe 6 or 7 minutes when someone pulled up and said, "Whose car is this?" And we're waiting to get. Right now, we're working to get video of the actual arrest itself, and you can. Or him in cuffs. Okay, well, we're trying to get the video of him being placed under arrest in handcuffs and then walked out of the building.
Yeah, she had to touch him. Oh, that poor girl. She actually
But
had
this
to
is,
touch
video of him inside the salon.
What we don't have just yet, and we're working to get right now, is the arrest. Now, you heard the stylist say that he was there 5, maybe 6 or 7 minutes when someone pulled up and said, "Whose car is this?" And we're waiting to get. Right now, we're working to get video of the actual arrest itself, and you can. Or him in cuffs. Okay, well, we're trying to get the video of him being placed under arrest in handcuffs and then walked out of the building. My goodness, the reaction from her, I can't even imagine what she has been through the last 12 hours or so. I'm pretty sure she didn't wake up yesterday morning and whatever dreamed that she was going to be a part of this national story.
Just a normal day of work for her turning into this. Also seeing that video of her in there by herself.
And here's the video of him actually being arrested. And I'm assuming this is state police or Washington County Sheriff's deputies that have come into that salon and then put McGann under arrest. And he'll be you'll see him being taken out. Of course, it doesn't show a lot of emotion here. It doesn't show a lot of no resistance at all.
She said in her Facebook post too that, well, as she said in the interview as well, it was just a few minutes in, and when they came in, he seemed to know why they were there. He didn't resist or have any questions for them.
We're going to work on getting some more.
Yeah, he's not saying anything, is he? Because if you were having your hair cut and the police just walked in and arrested you, you'd be like, "What the hell? What are you doing? What's going on? What's this about?" If you were innocent, of course, so it's obvious, clear. He was just like resigned, isn't he? He's just like, "Oh, well, yeah, murdered 2 parents, left 2 children orphaned, but hey ho." I have talked about it on a previous stream, and some people might have heard this story before. And in which case, sorry about that. But many years ago, when I worked at the Social Security office in Rusholme, in Manchester, in the UK, I was a civil servant, and I interviewed claimants, people that were coming in to claim for, gyro, Social Security, etc. And one day I was on my way to work, and a lady got on the bus with her little boy, and she tried to pay the bus driver with change. She only had change. So I don't know how much the amount was. Maybe it was £1 or something. It wouldn't have been much in those days. I'm going back 40 years probably. Anyway, she tried to pay the bus driver with change, and I have to say the bus driver, he was a twonk. He was really nasty to her. This woman, she obviously didn't have a lot of money. She's on the bus there with her son. Her son was about 8, I'd say, from what I can remember. I don't remember much about the son. I remember her as clear as day. And the bus driver made a big fuss about it. "Oh, I'm not supposed to take, I was going to say monedas, then that's the Spanish. I'm not supposed to take all these coins." And he made a show of her, let's say, on the bus. And we could all hear it. The bus was packed. It was, 8:30 in the morning or whatever, peak hour. And he made a great big fuss of it. Anyway, he accepted it in the end, or maybe she come out with some other money. I don't know what happened. But in the end, she got on the bus with her son. And then when it came to her stop, which is a couple of stops before my stop, she went to, so if people know how British buses are, or were, don't know if they're still the same because I haven't lived in Britain for so long, but basically you'd get on the bus at the front and the driver would be there and take your money, and then you get off it in the middle of the bus. So the way off the bus was a door in the middle of the bus. So when it came to her stop, she got up, it was about 2 or 3 stops before mine, 2 probably. And she got off the bus with her son. And then she got back on the bus. So she put her son off the bus, left him on the pavement. She got back on the bus, went to the front of the bus where the driver was, and stabbed him in the eye with a pair of scissors. And it all happened so quick, like we didn't realise, everybody, like I say, the bus was packed, we didn't realise what had happened. The bus driver just went like that with his face, but we could see blood coming from his fingers, and she then got back off the bus again. And, oh my God, well, you can imagine, very traumatic. She walked off with a little boy, presumably took him to school. See you later, Yvonne. And presumably she took her child to school. So off I go to work. I got off the bus there as well. I was traumatized of watching this stabbing. People had phoned the ambulance and the police and everything. I was about 19 at the time, so I didn't get involved with all that. Other people sort of took over the actual phoning for help, etc. When I get to work, to the Social Security office, so my manager comes up to me and says to me, right, you've got somebody coming in for an interview this morning, and the police are going to come and arrest them. It was only the person I had to interview that morning was this woman that stabbed the bus driver in the eye on my bus. And he said she's going to come in for an interview for a gyro, it was that she was a claimant. When I looked up her file, she had a big red spot on it. So this is years before computers. And she had this great big thick file, and it had a big red spot on it, and which meant a violent claimant. So like for people who used to go out, I didn't go out to people's addresses. I could never have done that. I used to interview people actually in the Social Security office, either on reception or in the little booths. We had booths that we used to interview people in. And there was a screen up in those days. And her file was massive with great big red spot, violent claimant. And I'm thinking, and I said, oh, come on, you've got to be kidding me. And they said to me, look, all you've got to do is keep her talking until the police arrive. The police are on their way. She's due in, 5 minutes. She probably took her little boy off to work, to school, and then came straight to the Social Security office for her interview for whatever it was to do. I can't remember the details, but to do with her gyro, to do with her income support. And I've got to keep her talking until the police get there, which luckily was very, very quick. So literally she came into, because when say her appointment was at 9:30, you call them through the microphone. I remember her name. I'm not going to mention her name, but I remember her name as clear as day, because I'll never forget it, because it was very traumatic, like it will be for this poor woman who, was sat to, cut the hair of this double murderer. So she wasn't a murderer, but she could have killed him. She stabbed him in the eye with a pair of scissors. So I don't know what happened to him, what the outcome was of the court case or whatever. This is the last I know of it. So I called her in on the mic. She came and sat down in front of me. She's a very distinctive person. I remember, as I say, as clear as day. I was about 19. I'd say she was about in her 30s. So she'd be in her 70s now if she's still with us in this world. And I'm sure she had a difficult life. I don't know, I'm not making a judgment against her, and the bus driver had been horrible to her, but it's no reason to stab someone in the eye with a pair of scissors, is it? Anyway, she sat down, we started talking, and the next minute the police appeared. behind her, and that was like a relief for me. It was just like, because of course this girl didn't know that the police were coming. She didn't even know she had a double murderer in her chair. I knew that this girl had stabbed the guy on the bus because I was on the same bus. Honest to God, you couldn't make it up, could you? Literally could not make it up. And, you know, thinking about now, I hope her little boy was okay because he didn't do anything wrong. She put him off the bus. She came back on the bus. She stabbed the bus driver in the eye. And presumably he was, I don't even know actually if he was okay, because I know if you stab someone in the eye, that's pretty, but he was compensated because he said, oh, she stabbed me. I remember him covering his face like that, blood coming between his fingers, and he said, she stabbed me. And she's walking off the bus with a pair of scissors in her hand. So terrifying when you're caught up in these things, you know. But I literally, it was only for a couple of minutes. I think she more or less just sat down, said hello, and then the police were there, and that was the last I ever knew of any of it. As I say, I was about 19 at the time, so I didn't follow it up. You know, now, of course, I'd be trying to find out what happened and that. But what I'm saying, those sort of traumas live with you, you know, because that girl, like they just said, she didn't expect to be part of a national experience like this. She's going to be in demand for interviews and stuff, you know. I know, Leslie, that we were on the same. I mean, it was just like, couldn't. Thing is, I suppose, you know, when you think about it, reality is so much more weird, isn't it, than fiction. That's what they say. Truth is stranger than fiction, and that is 100%. I swear on my son's life of that happening. I could give you that woman's name, but obviously I'm not going to do that. But I remember her name as clear as a bell. I remember her as clear as a bell. She was quite, let's say, an impressive looking person. She didn't look necessarily aggressive, but she was distinctive, let's say, in her hairstyle, her manner of dress, etc. And then again, and then when it was like me, why me? I mean, when I think about it, why me? Because there was lots of people that could have interviewed her, you know, but I think she was already booked in for that interview. You know, I don't think they just decided, oh, they'll give that interview to me. I think she was on my list that day, you know, so truth is definitely stranger than fiction. But luckily for me, the thing is, at 19, you don't take things so much to heart, do you? You know, it's like I was probably more concerned about what, if I was going out that night and what boy I was interested in or whatever. But it was just, I mean, don't forget, you know, I am from Manchester and, you know, it wasn't an unusual occurrence. I have seen other stabbings and things as well. Even those years ago, I know there are more stabbings now that people didn't have like the big, you know, zombie knives and things that they have now. But I have seen stabbings on late night buses. I've seen somebody go for someone. I've seen all sorts because, you know, I am from a council estate in Manchester. I'm not from, you know, La La Land. And, you know, I've experienced things which makes you stronger. Now, this poor woman, she's just there working in this hairdresser salon. I expect she's never been involved in anything like that before. Bless her. Sorry, let me play. So I got into a waffle then. Some people won't like that, but there you go. It's a true story.
Of this video as well. We're also trying to get some video as well of the of him going into the Washington County Jail, being the intake in the Washington County Jail. Let's talk about if we can. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. And so Bo Russell's been doing this since day one.
Yeah, Saturday.
That's and so seeing all this and, you know, seeing it wrapping up at least to this point.
Right. I mean, I think it's an emotional time, right? And law enforcement alluded to that last night. I think a lot of law enforcement took this personally. You know, people have talked about Devil's Den, and especially in the state of Arkansas, we take our, you know, our park seriously. We're the natural state, right? And so they hit a place that was a lot of people felt safe going on hikes. We've seen on Facebook and social media people saying, "Oh, I've been there all the time. I've never felt unsafe," you know? And so, you know, this has been called, we spoke with the West Fork police chief who said this was such a senseless crime, right? And I think that's what really hit home and had people, as the days went on, become more worried, right? I was worried, you know, being out there, you know, not knowing who's behind this and wondering why there was so little information coming out. You know, now we know law enforcement probably had more information than they were letting on, so that they could apprehend this guy without maybe scaring him off, you know? And something we just saw in that video that, you know, is really surprising is just how calm he looked.
Yeah.
You know, he did not look like a guy who expected he was going to get arrested there in that barbershop. So I think, you know, right now it's kind of a 50-50. People are so happy that this guy's caught, you know, but also two little girls lost their parents, and it's a horrible situation. So, you know, there's still a lot of questions. What was the motive behind this? Why did he get out there? And so hopefully we're going to get some more of that information.
Let's talk about that for a second. There is going to be a news conference at 2:00 today that, of course, will carry right here on 5 News Plus and also on Channel 5. I think we're all wanting to know a little bit more than what they released yesterday. And I get that there was limited information last night. They've had now 12 hours to process this. I'm hoping that we find out more.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially as, you know, we're hearing he's worked at other schools in the past. And he was supposed to start working at a school today. I mean, thank goodness they caught him yesterday and he didn't get a chance to start work.
Yeah, he was supposed to start work at his new job at the school that day that he was arrested, or the day after he was arrested. Gosh.
But yeah, so I think we want to know, did people feel weird about this guy? Were there signs leading up to this? You know, what are kind of the protocols when hiring teachers? You know, these are all questions I think people are asking, and it's worrisome, you know, so that's where I think we're at.
And we do know, I guess, that he had taught at least 2 schools.
Sand Springs and Broken Arrow,
and then
Oklahoma,
a school in Texas as well, and moved here from Oklahoma recently, to which the victims had also moved here recently. So the whole situation, there's just a lot of questions surrounding this. And you were at the press conference last night where they said they probably won't release a lot about the motive until they're still investigating that. So.
That's right. Yeah, we're probably not going to hear a lot about the motive today. We might, you know, we don't know. But I think we can start putting some pieces together, right?
Right. I'm just going to fast forward a bit because this is quite a long video. I want to see, there was, let's have a look. So this is him coming into the...
Thankfully, we're not physically hurt. You heard Colonel Mike Hager last night becoming emotional.
In shock of the tragedy. Now, you can find a link to this GoFundMe on our website.
Oh, so there is a GoFundMe to help raise funds to lay Clinton and Kristen to rest. And let's have a look at the GoFundMe, see where we've got to with it. Seems like a knee-jerk reaction, doesn't it, GoFundMes these days? But of course, you know, they won't be expected to, you know, have died. So I suppose, let's have a look at it. So $51,000 raised so far. I just think sometimes these GoFundMes pop up too soon. But anyway, as I say, if you want to make a donation, if anyone deserves it, these children do, that's for sure. Their target is $70,000. And yeah. So who set it up? Who set it up? The organizer is Sherry Reed. Well, I don't even know who Sherry Reed is, so yeah. Anyway, the GoFundMe's there. I'm not going to criticize it if people want to donate to it. Yeah. So many of you have heard of the horrific tragedy that took place at Devil's Den State Park During an outing with his family, Clinton Brink, the son of my dear cousin Carrie, and his wife Kristen were taken from us. He was a son, a brother, a nephew, an uncle, a cousin, a father, of course, a loving husband to Kristen Brink, and an amazing father. Clinton and Kristen were loving parents to their 3 precious daughters, devoted to one another, devoted to their girls, and devoted to God. Their lives were stolen senselessly and cruelly. We want this individual caught and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. He robbed these precious girls of their mum and dad and mother of her son, mother and father of their daughters. We are kindly asking if you can please help us to raise funds to lay Clinton and Kristen to rest and help these 2 little girls with whatever they may need. You know, personally, I think it's a little bit too early to do this, so I think there'll be a lot of people that will want to donate towards the girls. You know, but it's all very unclear, isn't it, at the moment, the whole situation. But you know what? If you feel like donating, just go ahead and donate it. It's a deserving cause. Yeah, whatever you can donate will be greatly appreciated by Clinton and Kristen's entire family as we navigate the grief, devastation and shock of this tragedy. Our hearts are broken and lives are forever changed. With grateful hearts, we want to thank you for your continued support as we navigate this new reality. So, we've had 553 donations and they've raised so far $51,000. So, there you go. Where am I going to go now? I'm going back to the video, I think, when I can find it. That one go down. So I'm just putting some windows down. So I get okay, going back to that video. So yeah, there was some, I think there was the video of him going into the, let's see. I've seen that. Let's go forward a bit. Oh, right, the police conference, the new police conference.
Locate that suspect vehicle at a barber shop in Springdale, which is what you're looking at here, around 5 o'clock last night. Investigators went into the barber shop. They identified themselves.
Appreciate you guys coming out this afternoon. We're going to just kind of go through some bullet point information, and I'm sure it's going to spawn a lot of questions. We're going to try to answer as many of those questions as we can. Want to introduce our partners. Well, actually, I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but we do have our 2 deputy directors, Lieutenant Colonel Mike Kennedy and Lieutenant Colonel Jason Aaron, that are with us, and I believe the rest of the people behind me will speak, and I'll let them introduce themselves. I want to start by thanking our investigators. It's hard to express the amount of time and effort and energy that goes into an investigation like this. You could see it on their face when we walked into headquarters last night and had the opportunity to see them, talk to them, thank them in person at the culmination of this. They're absolutely exhausted. They put every bit of their heart and soul into this investigation to get this suspect brought into custody and taken off the streets. And I cannot thank them enough for that. Also want to thank our law enforcement partners. We are truly blessed in Arkansas. It's not always common, and that's unfortunate, but we have a relationship with our state, local, and federal counterparts that's second to none. There was an incredible amount of cooperation and collaboration that went into this investigation. No part is less than any other's part. There's a total package that has to be looked at, has to be investigated, and these groups work together in a very impressive way, and we can't thank them enough. Not just on this case, but in every case that we work within state police. To have that partnership with them is really valuable. I want to thank the public for providing images and videos from cell phones, home and business security footage, that directly advanced this investigation. We'll talk a little bit more about how that played out, but the information that was put out and the request for information back from the public directly resulted in this person being brought into custody. It allowed our investigators a starting point to move forward and to use their skills that they've developed over the years and their experience to bring this person into custody. We had about 500 tips that came in through our phone lines, social media. Not only were there a lot of tips that came in, and we're very thankful for that, but there's a lot of people that have to field those tips. And it's not all badge-wearing, gun-toting members of the state police or Department of Public Safety. We had a lot of civilian personnel that were tasked with that. There was a lot of time and energy spent on triaging those tips and making sure they went to the right people. And so we owe a great gratitude for that support staff that helped with this as well. Although everyone is innocent until proven guilty, we did confirm this morning that our suspect's DNA has been a positive match to the DNA that we suspected to belong to our suspect at the scene.
So his DNA matches. So he's not got much chance of getting away with this crime, has he? His DNA matches. You feel like it's game over, really.
During an interview with investigators, the suspect indicated that he did commit these murders.
Oh.
We executed a search warrant at his residence.
So it sounds that during the interviews he indicated he did commit these murders. So is he going to plead guilty?
There were articles found there that are consistent with being involved in this particular crime. And I will let Major Rhodes speak more of that or more to those details. We do believe he acted alone. We have absolutely no reason to believe that there's anyone else involved, and we do not anticipate any future arrest or any other arrest beyond this suspect. I'm going to go ahead and pass off to Major Stacy Rhodes. She can walk through a little bit more of the information, and I'll return to the podium and we'll answer any questions we can. Thanks.
Well, good afternoon. As he indicated, I'm Major Stacy Rhodes. I oversee the Criminal Investigation Division for the State Police. And I kind of want to walk you through how we initiated and progressed through our investigation. So, as you all know, we responded to a call for service at the state parks. Two young children were found and indicated that something had happened to their parents on the trail. That initial information that came from the kids gave us our first starting point, which was a description of a suspect. There was another witness at the park that we encountered that gave us additional information about the suspect and a particular vehicle that he was seen leaving the park. With that, we took the information, completed and let me kind of, we'll start there. So from there, we had a pretty good description of our suspect.
Now, I can't go into this whole thing because I've got to go in a minute, unfortunately. But anyway, this you can watch the actual whole police conference. You can watch online. But I think the important things, we've seen him being arrested. His DNA has been confirmed to be at the scene. He apparently has confessed to the crime. So it looks like hopefully it's a slam dunk type thing. I just want to show you one more thing. So apparently, because as we know, he was a teacher, and it seems that he had just, he'd had, why is that not coming up? These are sort of posts that he'd put. Jennifer Coffin-Dutcher, as I call her, was Andrew McGann's target, the girls. Now, the police are saying the girls, there's no evidence to show that the girls were the target, but you can't help but wonder, why would he attack a family? It's very odd. I'd like to know his motives, but if he's got one, or maybe he's just a psycho who doesn't need a motive. But he's taught in 3 different school districts in 3 different states. Louisville, Texas in 2023, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma in 2024, and Springdale, Arkansas, sorry, I'm never going to get over this pronunciation, in Springdale in 2025. So he's moved around. Apparently was thought of being, there were complaints against his behavior, and he was allowed to quietly resign instead of being prosecuted. So here it says, hello, my name is Drew McGann. I'm thrilled to be a part of the Bayari team this year as a 3rd grade teacher. I have 3 years of certified teaching experience and a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education from Oklahoma State University. In my free time, I love going to concerts with friends, working out and being outdoors and murdering married couples. I look forward to being an asset to the Bayari family this year and living in the gorgeous state of Arkansas. So, yeah. There he is. Oh, yeah. Apparently he was on dating apps. Oh, my God. This is it. You go on these. Oh, look at him there with the pussycat. Yeah, such a lovely guy with this really weird mop of hair. Oh, my God. Oh. People have probably been on dates with him on Tinder or whatever dating, Plenty of Fish or whatever dating sites people go on these days. So apparently classmates noted inappropriate behavior from him towards several little girls in the class, and it was reported to the principal, Heather Shorter. This is at Donald Elementary. At the time, he was allowed to resign without any consequence and even went on to continue teaching in another district. I don't know if this is true. This is what somebody is saying. This is what Jennifer's reporting. Finding out he went on to kill a couple in front of their 2 little girls is horrifying. And the fact there were warning signs and he was continually allowed to get around children is a travesty. But do you know why? Do you know why he was continually allowed around children? Because he's a white male. He's an all-American boy. He's not an immigrant. If he was an immigrant, it'd be everybody be up in arms. Look at this. Sorry. It's just making me laugh, his hair. Oh, my God. You could stuff a pillow with that hair, couldn't you? And the thing is, nobody's saying, oh, yeah, all-American boy murders all-American married couple, are they? If he was an immigrant, that would be everywhere. Monsters walk amongst us, and they don't look like what we think they do. So these are the pictures. This is jail. I'll talk about this. But look, yeah, make America great again. Now, JLR is saying here, I'm told the husband was wearing a Trump hat and shirt when he was murdered. It's possible, isn't it? People have committed murders. I said this right from the beginning. I mentioned about the Trump T-shirt he's had. You should be able to wear, whether I like Trump or not, which personally I don't. That doesn't matter. Anyone should be able to make the political statement they want to. If they want to wear a Trump T-shirt, if they want to wear a Margaret Thatcher T-shirt, if they want to wear a Netanyahu T-shirt, everyone should be able to do it if they want to do it. It shouldn't be a reason for killing people, should it? But it's a possible motive, isn't it? Because, these days, you only got to look at someone the wrong way and somebody might stab you or whatever. That's how it feels. It's like, oh. So he's showing pictures of the girls. I wouldn't really think that's a good idea. Sorry, I didn't realise before I showed that the girls were on it. I will block them out. I'm going to save that picture, but we'll blur the pictures of the girls. Yeah. It's funny because, anyway, never mind. Let me just, I just want to save that image so that I can blur out the pictures of the girls. Yeah. Oh, there's the video of him getting out of his car and going into the hair salon. So she said he appeared tired, sunburned, and unusually quiet. Anyway. Yeah, so look, Jennifer Coffin, I thought, could it possibly be Travis Decker? But anyway, it's not Travis Decker. Travis Decker's still out there somewhere, hopefully deceased. Okay,